Welcome you all to welcome you all to day 2 of the 5-day national webinar conducted by Sri Venkateshwara College of Hyderabad. Good morning. I am Dr. Prasanna Sundari Pingali and have the honors of conducting today's webinar. I hope all of you had a wonderful experience yesterday after listening to the webinar conducted by Dr. Krishnan. I am sure all of us have taken few important messages while going home, and our expectations have risen higher. On behalf of the college, I assure you that today's session will surely meet the expectations. Now I request our principal sir, Dr. M. Bhagwan Raju Garu, to welcome the audience and speakers for today. Over to you, sir.
Good morning. I extend a warm welcome to the speaker as well as participants today. It is the second day of the seminar, and the first day was a great success because of the inputs of Dr. M.K. Unnikrishnan. But believe me, our perspective becomes rather narrow if you look at only an academic viewpoint. And we always need the industry experts to give us the right perspective. With this intention, we are today welcoming, inviting Sri V. Srinivas Garu, Global Head NATCO Pharma, to share with us his ideas on the theme of this webinar. And I wish all the participants a happy and learning experience. Welcome, sir. I request the coordinator, Dr. J. Prasanna Sundari Madam, to do the formal introduction.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Bikkumalla Srinivas is a very well-known person to me. I'm more than happy to introduce him on this occasion. I welcome you, sir, on the first hand. Bikkumalla Srinivas Garu is an alumni of Kakatiya University, Warangal. He has done his graduation in pharmacy there and later on pursued his post-graduation MTech Biotechnology at Jadavpur University. And To give you some more important piece of information, his interest in improving his academic excellence, he pursued Business Management course MBA at ISB Hyderabad in the year 2014. If you see his work summary, his functional experience, his first placement was at Pfizer, Hyderabad, as a senior officer at Corporate Quality Assurance. Later on, he moved to Aurobindo Pharma, where he was the head of a manufacturing unit. A large chunk of his experience was at Dr. Reddy's Laboratories, Hyderabad, where he held many important positions. He almost worked there for more than 15 years. Post 2018, he is placed at Natco Pharma Limited, Hyderabad, where he is head global business operations and project management. He is presently working at Natco. Mr. Bikkumalla Srinivas has very important aptitudes which have defined his success. He is excellent at human relations. He has a very good strategic vision and planning and works with a target-oriented approach, which might be the reason behind his successful career. He has over 25 years of track record of delivering outstanding results and building winning teams. His team has received awards for their executive operations. Strong on strategy as well as execution excellence, he energizes team members with a sense of urgency and ownership in establishing clear accountability for on-time completion of projects. He has made significant contribution with successful track record of launching new divisions and team expansions which demonstrated in both the companies which he was working for a large part of his professional journey. He is very passionate about people development and have groomed quite a good number of project managers to leadership roles. He has also executed many important foreign assignments. He was a key member, or I can say he was very instrumental in increasing the product portfolio at Dr. Reddy's. He was instrumental in launching certain products from foreign companies like D Biopharma Switzerland, Applied Pharma Research Switzerland, SSI Pharma Italy, Biocodex France, and Merck Germany. So he has launched these products into India, and he was also responsible for attaining permissions from the Drug Controller General of India for the same. He has won many awards, and most important of all, he was the recipient of Chairman's Excellent Award in recognition of improved on-time product launches in India, in licensing of 65 products by implementing viable vision concepts, improving of due date performance. I think this was his key winning area, from 68% to 97%. He was the recipient, he received the Best Performance Award as a project manager among 15 project managers in the year 2009 and 10. For 2 consecutive years, he has received Customer Delight Award from National Business Team and also from Russia and CIS team in the years 9-10 and 10-11 consecutive. To enhance his professional expertise, he has attended and received training and courses in many areas. To just name a few, he received a graduate certificate for in-house in 1-year leadership program. It is called as New Horizon Leadership Program at DRL. He attended a workshop on lateral thinking by Eri Horn, corporate training on strategic thinking at DRL, corporate training on crucial conversations at Vital Smarts, certificate course on clinical trials, corporate training on project management, qualification of clean room certification, chemoinformatics and drug design, and also SQC. All of these help enhance his professional expertise. So with this information, I would like to invite Mr. Bikkumalla Srinivas Garu, and he has decided to speak on the topic developing regulatory ecosystem and IP thinking, which is very important on today's scenario. Thank you so much, and I welcome Mr. Bikkumalla Srinivas Garu to please initiate the session and take over. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for your keynote on my profile. And respected Principal Dr. Bhagwan Garu and coordinators, all HODs, and Dr. Prasunna and organizing committee, and all leaders of Surabhi Education Society and students. I thank each one of you very sincerely and for giving me this opportunity for today's workshop. Yeah. So next 40-45 minutes, and you are going to see the next window of what Dr. Professor Unikrishna spoke yesterday. I really don't know and how many members of the participants were present yesterday in the session, but it was very great session. And he spoke on the pharmaceutical growth pre-reform era, and he was talking very deeply on the drug research versus the drug development. And he was quoting some of the examples of the CIBA-GEIGE, where he was mentioning about the different leadership qualities of the CIBA-GEIGE management. He was talking about the SWOT analysis of the different pharmaceutical companies. And he mentioned quite a bit about the portfolio and regulatory approaches. So the true inputs of the Dr. Krishnan gave me very good confidence and way also to make a presentation on the developing the regulatory ecosystems and the IP thinking. Okay. Before going for the slides, actually, just I want to let you know, by attending this 40-45 minutes session, in what way it is going to help the students. I am very much sure. So students who are intending build their career in the portfolio department, or in the pharmaceutical R&D department, pharmaceutical R&D department, and business development department, and operations, and of course regulatory and IP. This 45 session information is going to support them a lot. And in fact, I am going to provide the generic information, especially on the ANDAs and NDAs and IP sessions, para 1, para 2, para 3, and para 4. But I request you to take this information and Google yourself and do a lot of the background work and try to understand what is meant by regulatory philosophy in the pharmaceutical industry. And going forward, just I have 2 points. One is, if you see the majority of owners of the pharmaceutical company in India, it is very true that they are from non-science background. They are from the non-pharma background. But they do wonders in the market. It is only because they have a lot of the grip on the regulatory path as well as IP front. So these 2 elements are the 2 key drivers for the business improvement in any pharmaceutical sector. So that's why it is one of the reasons, and I have taken this topic, developing regulatory ecosystem and IP thinking. And the last important point is on some certain slides on the top right side of the corner, I put one small square with red color. So whenever those slides are coming up, I request you to make a note, and whenever you get the free time, and Google it and understand deep more. Okay, let us proceed for the topic. Yeah, before the topic, just I want to welcome noble thoughts from all the directions and Ano Bhadra Kratavoyatu Vishwataha. And the disclaimer is, as Dr. Prasunna mentioned, that having the 25 years of the pharmaceutical experience and working at the different verticals, I could able to map a small presentation with my knowledge. So it is nothing to do with either with my previous organizations or the present organizations. And please consult appropriate expert and if you want the business advice on this. So the total flow of the developing regulatory ecosystem thinking is having around 4 to 5 flows. One is you are going to get understand what is the regulatory wheel and what is a generic drug and what is the NDA cycle. And second is most important, NDA versus ANDA. Why 95% of Indian pharmaceutical companies are with the NDA philosophy? Why not with the NDA philosophy? This also we are going to discuss. And budget, of course, for doing the any business or any activity, the currency is the most important, the muscle power, which is going to drive the business. So this point also we are going to discuss. And the last could be the how organizations are surveying with having better, deeper IP thinking process. Let us move. This slide, it is a very funny slide, but I request you to make a one moment of your attention. See, one side FDA is asking.
Sir, sorry for the interruption.
And other side the small.
Srinivas sir, sorry for the interruption. Can you please raise your volume?
Please.
It seems the volume. Thank you.
One second. Is it okay now?
Yeah.
Is it okay
you
now?
place your microphone. Is it okay?
Yeah, is it okay, madam?
Okay.
Yeah. So just I want to understand whether are you able to see the presentation? Hello.
Yes, we can see the presentation. Yeah, we can see the presentation. Just take the volume.
Yeah. Okay, volume. Yeah.
Widen.
Yeah, I think it is the maximum volume. Yes.
I think you're using two devices. Volume of another device should be lowered.
Okay, one second. Just hold on.
Because it is echoing.
Okay. Now I switched off my mobile and I'm using only one device. It is okay now?
Yes. Now it's quite good. Thank you.
Is it okay? And that's great, madam.
1 minute.
Thank you so much.
1 minute. You have to hide. You have to stop sharing and hide. No, just click that hide once, so that tab will disappear. Yeah, now it's excellent.
Yeah.
And you can maximize the screen. Maximize the screen. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, madam. Thanks a lot. Thanks for correcting the issue. So it is one funny slide, but so if they is asking one particular way to build the dossier, and the sponsor is making one way. And after constructing some certain point, both the FDA and the sponsor, they met and they started the fighting. Okay, so that's what understanding of regulatory norms and the IP, that is going to be the most important. And next couple of years, and ANDAs remains the pillar of Indian pharma. So just going for the session, going for the topic, just I want to give the brief information about Indian pharma sector. Yesterday, Dr. Professor Unikrishna was talking about the previous history of the pharmaceutical sector and how much the revenue generated. And in fact, if you started looking at in 2009, the revenue of the total Indian pharmaceutical sector was around 13 billions. But with the CAGR, that is the compound annual growth rate of the 15%, by the end of the 2020, that means our financial year would be the March 2021. So that is end of the financial year 2020, and Indian pharma sector is going to reach 55 billion with high potential of 70 billion. Recently, I came across Sri Narendra Modi ji's one word on. He was talking in one of seminars. He was telling there can be no better place than India to manufacture and expand into growth. It is 100% of the truth. There are very good lucrative chances are there for all industries, especially for the pharma industry. Yeah. So when I'm telling about in the previous slide, when I'm telling about 55 billions or the 70 billions, and what are the resources of this 70 billions? So if you see the pharma sector, the value chain, APS, which is called the active pharmaceutical ingredients, which would be contributing around 20 billions, and down to one formulations, which is around 35 to 45 billions, and CRAMS, which is not directly affecting on the financial resource, but AP business and the formulation business that depends upon the CRAMS, and sometimes which is nothing but the contact to research.
Srinivas, you are not audible.
Years, next 7 to 8 years. And okay, then just hold on 1 second, 1 second.
You want us to present?
No, presentation is not an issue, but I think this is only the volume set. Is it okay now?
Okay, no? Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So, are you comfortable with it? Everybody is okay? Volume set? Dr. Priscilla?
Yes.
Yeah, fine.
Yes. You can continue.
Great.
Yes, you can continue.
Yeah. And coming to the biosimilars, maybe by the end of the 2030, so by next 7-8 years, and Indian pharmaceutical company is going to play very big role. And so where this 155 to 70 billion dollars are coming to Indian pharma sector. So if you totally make the total business, so North America generics is contributing almost 40% of the total revenue, and that is followed by little bit both Europe and Africa around 15 to 20%, and Asian regions and LATAM, which is the South American countries, and MENA is nothing but Middle East countries, and which are contributing around 15 to 20%. Okay. So why even Prime Minister was very confident about the Indian pharmaceutical sector, and what are the key drivers if you're able to analyze it? So here, there are so many other parameters, but I was trying to give the most important key drivers. One is the cost efficiency, and the economic drivers, and policy support, and increase in the investment. And if you analyze it, coming to the IT sector, so I think around IT sector, Indian IT sector, cost of persons who are working on the different projects, they are around 50 to 55% less than the US. But coming to the pharma, that is almost 60 to 65% is the lower than that of the US. It is one of the reasons which is playing a very key critical role for the cost efficiency. And recently there are a lot of the changes in the Indian political atmosphere, as well as the public maturity level in taking the health policies and the insurance, which is also contributing. And union budget in the last year, they have increased almost 14% of the budget. And compared to the last 10 years, there are so many private sectors they are started investing in the R&D. Yeah. So till now the story is good, but again it is not the what you call red carpet for all pharma industries. So here you can see one red mark on the top right of this one. Maybe the same slide I'm going to present in the last. So this is called the VUCA. So pain areas. So these pain areas, this is not only applicable in any industry. It is applicable to our family life. It is applicable to our personal growth. It is applicable to our personality. So whenever you have some dilemma, whether and what to take, what not to take, and where to procedure, and which course is good, which course is bad, maybe I request you to evaluate by taking these 4 parameters. And V stands for volatility and uncertainty and complexity, ambiguity. So what is the volatility in the pharma industry? It is basically with respect to the revenue generation, the dollar, and uncertainties, and when to enter the market. And in fact, when one X company is developing one particular product, and I'm sure that that person may not be having 100% idea, and how many other players also developing that molecule. So it is having a lot of uncertainty. So when he started filing the dossier, by the time couple of other persons might have already filed, or there would be some more players also would be in the queue. So especially on the US market, so the revenue would be dropping out is directly proportional to the number of players increasing. So that's what, so many companies would target for the very niche molecules, and they want to entering into the first in the market. It is a basic concept. And the third one is ambiguity, and we don't know how many generic players are there and what would be the price erosion. If Innovate is selling the medicine at $100, the first generic player, and he can get the chance to reduce it to 30%. That means, and he can sell at the $70. But as soon as third, fourth, fifth, sixth generic players that started coming, so the pricing would be eroded to even to $4 to $5 also. So that's what it is, highly ambiguity situation. And the complexity within the company itself, and having the technical capability of the stock and the overheads and what to call supply timings and all these other complex parameters. So these are the 4 VUCA parameters, and these are the key pain areas in any pharmaceutical industry. Okay. So now coming to the actual point. So when we are developing the product, so what happens, your company portfolio team will decide one particular molecule to develop, and how they get it, and they get the survey. There are so many other private service agents are available, and who would be analyzing what you call IP front and the regulator front also, and they will give the information, and what would be the market potential, and what would be the growth curve, and how many players are coming. This information that they can take it, and they give the advice to the management. Okay, and you can start the developing the product X. But for all this one, there is one book in the FDA, so which is called the Orange Book. So again, I am suggesting you people to Google the Orange Book whenever you get that time, and you type one particular compound name, and you are going to get and all the information about that particular compound, like innovator and R&D, how many strengths are there, and what is the patent condition, what is IP condition. So this information is very much essential before taking the product for the development. So once the product development with Orange Book support is started, then product is developed, and you can map your clinical strategy, whether bio is required or bio B required or the BA required, and that will be following the filing strategy. In the filing strategy, and there would be one more slide on the different filing strategies, that is para 1, para 2, para 3, para 4. So why I'm telling to refer the Orange Book is, Orange Book is going to give the all the patents which were submitted by the innovator. For example, if innovator submitted the 10 patents, so when you are filing your ANDA document to the FDA, you will have to take all 10 patents and give your comments also. That means the patent number 1, you are filing in the para 1, patent number 2, para 2, para 3, para 4. So all the patents which are given by the innovator company, and you will have to give your corresponding your strategy as well. And that would be followed by your regulatory management, and once you get the product approval and product launch. So once the product is launched, definitely the kit is going to come back to you. But again, so the next day, if the second generic player gets the approval, and there would be the price erosion on your kit. So I was talking about Orange Book. It is very important publication published by the FDA, and it is very much freely available on the net. And it also, actually, there was Hatch-Waxman amendments on the Orange Book. That also I'm going to cover in the deep. So it is very important Orange Book to understand it, especially pharmaceutical scientists. And it is not like that it would be only one day exercise. So as long as we are breathing ourselves in the pharma industry, and we will have to update ourselves on the Orange Book. And it is having the different parts. So it is going to cover what are the different OTC drugs are available, and what are the prescription drugs, and what are the discontinued drugs also. And for every category of the drugs, it gives the code A and code B. And code A is considered, it is theoretically equal to the innovator, and code B says it is not theoretically equivalent. Here you may get one doubt. If that is not equivalent to the therapeutic, how FDA can give the grant? There could be 1 or 2 examples also. So during the filing, the product is meeting the what you call innovator standards, but later once the product is launched out, and it may not be meeting. So whenever FDA reviews the product cycles, and if they found that it is not meeting the B criteria, then they will push your A code to B code. So let us spend a few more seconds on the OB book. So this is the, I took a copy from what you call Orange Book. So if you type in the net in the Orange Book, and you are going to get it, and you put the drug products with the therapeutic equivalents, and where you can see one such small window, and you can put your compound. So the compound is going to give all the patents. So in the previous minute, I was talking about the different patents. So if you see here, and it is the product which is called everolimus, which is being used for the breast cancer. So in the top, that is their patent and exclusivity for the so-and-so number. So on the bottom, on the first column, it is having the product number, followed by the patent number, and followed by the patent expiration, followed by whether it is the drug substance means API, and drug product is formulation. So every patent, and they are given very clearly whether this patent belongs to the formulation or not. In this case, what happens, the API as well as formulation belongs to the same innovator. So that's why in his dossier and they could able to make the both the patents. For example, tomorrow if you are filing the Eurolimus, but you are sourcing API from some other company. So in that case, and you not worry about this one API patents in this format, but you should worry. So whenever both the DMF and API belongs to the same partner, and all the patents are going to be published in the OVO. So in the same pattern, they also give the different exclusivity. So that also I'm going to tell you in the very different way. So Hatch-Waxman Act has given the privileges for this one, and it is really boon to the both innovator company as well as for the generic company. So when I'm talking about FDA organization, like our local DCE office as well as our central DCE office, and we have the couple of the different sections, and each section would be acting on one particular responsibility. In the same pattern, FDA is having the so many around 5 to 6 different sections, and our ANDA and the DMF, it belongs to the CDER, which stands for Center for Drug Evaluation, the research, and other departments will take care about what we call veterinary and other OTC and the devices. So a few seconds on the ANDA and the generic drug. And generic drug, it is 100% true copy of innovator product, and with respect to its efficacy and efficiency, and it would be meeting, and 100% it is equally quality but at the lowest cost. So many people have the doubt on what is the NDA and NDA. So NDA is completely, that is the new drug. So yesterday Dr. Krishnan was talking about this one drug development as well as the drug product. So NDA, in the NDA you'll be having the chemistry, manufacturing, controls, labels, and the clinicals and the preclinicals and the RMS and the bioavailability. But coming to the NDA portion, the last 6, 7, 8 points can be clubbed into the bioequivalency. So it is only different. So why the generic phase, they need not spend amount on the clinicals and the animal studies, because it is already proven by the innovator on the safety and efficacy of the particular compound. So that's what this exemption is given to all the NDA players, and they are supposed to show the bioequivalent of their product by taking RLA into the consideration. So there are basically 2 submissions in the process. One is, you say, NDA submission, second one is the ANDA submission. In NDA submission, we have the 2 sections. One is the 505B1. 505 is the section name, actually section number. And other one is the 505B2. And the ANDA, what you call generic drug, is the 505J. So coming to 505B1, so it is a completely traditional new product. So I don't think not more than 3 or 4% of Indian pharma companies are working on the 505B1. But coming to 505B2, and it is not a generic, it is almost similar to the innovator, but there would be some changes, either with respect to the color or the formulations. Okay, so maybe innovator might have launched with the tablets. And
1 minute, Srinivas. Slides, we cannot see the slides.
Okay.
You have to share it again, present it again.
So, can I log out and join again? That would be better.
No, you just present it again. You can do that also. It's not a problem.
No, actually, I'm not getting icon here. That's what I'm. So shall I go for stop sharing? It is already showing in the sharing.
Full screen.
It is on.
You stop sharing and share it again.
Okay.
And full screen.
And also full screen.
Yeah. Now is it visible?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Just hold on. Give me 1 minute and I will log out and I will again join back.
Okay. Take your time.
Aparna.
Yes, Srinivas sir, it's visible. You can continue. Hello? Hello, can you listen to me? Yeah. Hello, am I audible? Hello?
Madam, am I audible to you?
Yes. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, now you're audible.
Yeah.
And you can share full screen, okay? Your screen is
Sure.
only partial.
Sure.
Full screen.
Yeah. Is it okay now?
Yes, now it's fine. Yes, fine. Your voice is
I'm
good.
sorry.
Continue.
Yeah. So I was
It's
talking
okay.
about So I was talking about finite one B1, B2, and J. And coming to the J, so you can say that more than 95% of Indian pharmaceutical companies are working on the ANDA submission. Around 5 to 10% is on the B2, but very less on the B1. So in the going forward, and the students, they can able to understand what is the difference of the B1, B2, and the J, I'm sure. So coming to the B2, so where I was telling that B1 is a completely new drug, and coming to the B2, it is not a generic, but at the same time, it is not a completely new drug, but it is similar to the NDA, but with the limited differences, like as mentioned, the dosage forms or the strength wise, or the color wise, other organoleptic properties wise. So these are the basic differences. Doses, for example, innovator has launched the product with the capsules and you want to make it on the tablet form and injection form, something like this. Strength, innovator has 100 mg and you want to go for 105 mg. And the delivery mechanism, whether it is XR route, IR route, and all this one. And maybe on the salt, innovator use the potassium salt and use the sodium salt and the complex enantiomers and the new combination of the previously approved drugs. And all these are coming under the B2. But remember, here I put one small footnote, B1 versus B2 versus J. In the J, we are not authorized to change any single dimension of RLD. If RLD is the potassium, you will have to use the potassium. If that is sodium, you will have to use for the sodium only. So if any changes comes, that is going for the B2, and no changes completely if that is a new entity, and that is going for the B1. Yeah. So very interesting slide on the ANDA submission on the 505J, and I am not going to cover on the 505B2 or the 505B1, which is the very elaborate. The time is not sufficient. So just I am putting efforts to make you understand the 505J. So in the 505J, the process. So one is the DMF filing, followed by your dossier filing, and this agency will review both the DMF as well as the API, and that will be followed by your under review and go for approval. See, for example, if any company filed the DMF, so by the time this API was not being used by any formulator, then agency will not give the criteria to review the DMF. So please make a note. So agency will start the review of the DMF, and only if any ANDA players file that particular component of the dossier. So that's what for all the pharmaceutical companies and majority of the companies, they file both the DMF as well as under in the at a single stage. Or otherwise, they file the ANDA and they give the trigger to their resources to file the DMF. And once that is there, and agency, I was mentioning one of the previous slides, that was CDER team, and will take it forward, and they will come for audit and inspections for the both the facilities. Then they go for the sorting of the technical review of the dossier. So here again, the red mark on the top right. So when applicant submitted its ANDA formation, there would be the two ways. Either agency will accept the dossier or agency will reject the dossier. So agency will accept the dossier, that will go to the different bins. One is the chemistry review and the labeling review and the bio review. And the fourth one could be there would be the request for the plant inspection. If the agency rejects your ANDA file, so then that will come to the applicant. So that's what it is not only important to develop the right molecule, it is also very equal important to make the right documentations during the submission of the dossier. So FDA, they have clearly mentioned about the font size, font color, and the spacing between the lines and the spacing between the margins, left side and the right side. So, and all these points one has to take into the consideration before filing for the dossier. And if applicant is not filing and all these formalities, they will strictly reject your dossier. So the CDR, that team CDR is going to play very critical role in evaluating all your technical as well as the facility point of view. Right. So I was mentioning about para 1, 2, 3, 4. So while you are making your dossier, like you are under submission, in your under submission for every patent which is prescribed in the Orange Book, you will have to mention that the patent, whether that belongs to para 1 or para 2 or para 3 or para 4. Let us come from the back side. Para 4, this is a golden mine to the pharmaceutical companies, and many companies will work on the para 4 only. And if you win the para 4, and there would be very drastic change in the revenue generation in the company itself. So what is para 4? And technically you are challenging the innovator. So, and you are taking the particular patent which is prescribed by the innovator in Orange Book and challenging them, this patent is technically wrong. And there would be the lot of technical discussions in the presence of the court of the law. And if the generic player wins in the court of the law and the government gives the permission to sell the product, minimum 6 months, 180 days, and at that time, agency will not give approval to the second generic player. So that means in the first 180 days, only two players are in the market. One is innovator and the second one is the first player of the generic. And second one is the para 3. Para 3 means you know that the patent is going to expire in the 2025, and you are also very sure that the patent is authentic and the patent is correct, and you don't have any evidence to challenge the patent. Then you inform to agency saying that I am accepting this from the patent information which is given by the innovator. So I will be launching the product only after expiry of the patent. And the second is patent was there, but fortunately the patent has expired. Today we are in the 2020. The patent is expired in the 2019 maybe, and you can mention that patent is already expired. So now have the privilege to file the dossier. And para 1, you can mention the patent is not there. So that says, but you know, see, generally probability of the coming under para 1 and para 2 are not more than 5 to 10%, and 30 to 35% would be on the para 3, and where generic players they can't challenge the technically on the innovator, and the majority of the challenges would be coming on the para 4. So what happens if generic player submit the dossier with the para 4? Very interesting story. And this everybody has to buy heart this one, because the total revenue of the companies depending upon if they get the success in the para 4, because first 6 months of the period and there won't be any competitors in the market, so they can sell at the 30% as the lower than the RLD price in the market, and they can make it. Couple of Indian companies, they got very good privilege out of this one para 4, and I have some of examples and I'm going to share to you also. So what happens, and once you publish your ANDA with the agency and you give and all the certifications as per the OB listed patents, so what FDA will give this information to the NDA holder within the 20 days of your filing. So then what happens? Either the NDA holder can accept your challenge or they can reject your challenge. So if NDA holder does not sue you within the 45 days, then agency will think that and you are the correct and agency will take your application for the review. But again, if you get the approval also, and there would be a couple of the chances and innovator may sue you once you launch the product. But that is a different story. So if the patent holder sues you within the 45 days, saying that the information furnished by the generic player is not correct, and again I'm challenging him. So then FDA puts this case into the either local court or the federal court in the US, and they will give the 30 months stay. 30 months is it is almost 2.5 years. So the 2.5 years and federal court and will hear the arguments of both generic players as well as the innovator. So in this case, again, there will be the two problems. Hello, is it okay? Hello?
Yeah, it's clear. You can continue, Mr. Srinivas.
Yeah. So what happens, and FDA gives their declaration, what to call their opinion within the 30 days, or sometimes that may not be there. So in the 30 days, for example, in the 30 days, in the 30 months, if the federal court gives the opinion in the favor of the generic players, then this 180 days class starts. Or if they give to the opinion in the favor of the innovator, then generic player has to withdraw his dossier, or otherwise, and he has to redirect his para 4 certification to the para 3, saying that, and he would be launching the product only after the expiry of the particular patent. So for example, if this court discussions are going on and 30 months stay is expired and still there is no decision, then what happens? And the agency will take its own own direction, and they will start the reviewing of the dossier, and at the time of the approval, and they will give the approval, but which is not the final approval, which is called the tentative approval. In the pharma industry language, we call TA. So this tentative approval says that technically the dossier is clear, but because of the IP issue which is pending at the federal court or the state court, that is and generic player is not authorized to launch the product till we get the final. And if you see, I have highlighted with green color. So 30 months is not expired, and if they give the opinion in the favor of the generic players, and the generic players have the privilege so to launch the product immediately, and first 6 months, and there will be the no competitors, and it is the gold mine to the first generic player. So I'm going to spend the few more slides on the GUDUPA. So GUDUPA, it is nothing but Generic Drug User Fee Amendment Act. And the previous slides, what I was mentioning about either DMF as well as the NDA or the PERA, that everything. So that has been restructured. So when Mr. Obama was the president of the US, I think in the 2012 or the 2013, they made some GUDUPA guidelines. Because in very first slide I mentioned in the 2009, and the Indian pharmaceutical industry, the revenue was around the 12 to 13 billions. So now that has come to almost 55. So for the US market is not only India, there are so many countries like India. So this much of the ANDAs are flowing into the US FDA. So US FDA is really having the, that was really handicapped with the resources for the review of the documents. So that's why they made some amendments. So one is to speed up the review process. So simultaneously they have drastically increased the dossier submission fees, and that fees they could be able to utilize increase in the staff and the facilities. So some time ago it was almost taking minimum 24 months to 36 months for giving the no-go decision for the NDA. But after this GUDUPA implementation, it is not taking the 10 months for the go or the no-go decision. So that's what, and it is very vital. So why FDA as our US government, they implemented the GUDUPA basically on the 3 criteria. one is on the public health. So unless they encourage the generic players, and patients are going to be suffer to pay the very huge amount for purchasing the innovative product. So that's why it is not only benefit to the generic players, indirectly it is benefit to the US market as well also. And the second one is FDA increase the more stable and the funding better staffing. And a couple of my seniors, I'm very proud to say that the couple of my seniors now they are working in very high level positions in the FDA. And there would be the faster review timings also. I was mentioning 36 months versus 10 to 12 months. So by taking these three attributes, and the FDA and government of US, they framed the GODFA guidelines. So basically there are some certain goals, but there are a couple of goals, but I highlighted in the two goals on the blue color. One is the efficiency announcement. Efficiency announcement of this stop, not on our dossier. And the second one is the ANDA review process. So by taking this one, the framework is made. So they increase the user fees and submission review and the performance goals also they made it, and original ANDA review program enhancements and pre-ANDA program subsequent the reviews. What happens some time ago, actually if you want to follow one particular dossier and you don't know what is your regulatory path or what is your bio path, and there was nobody to guide the players. But after this GODFA implement, and you can seek the agency, you can seek the FDA for appointment of the review, and they will provide it. So now this concept was implemented to a couple of other countries. Last 1 month back, we had one-to-one directly discussion from my office to Brazilian visa. Of course, and because of the COVID conditions, and they were not present to visit, but we had a conference call with them on one particular product. So in the same pattern with the FDA also, you can meet them, you can ask them, you can request their guidance, and what is the better way for the bio or any technical point, what you want some clarity. So it is a basic benefit of GODFA. Yeah, it is again red slide. So think, I request all the students to think himself or himself, they are starting one factory tomorrow, pharmaceutical industry. So for ANDA filing, so this is going to be applicable for the 1st October 2020. After 2 weeks, it is going to be applicable. So if you want to file one ANDA, which is coming to roughly figure, actually I made it to the round figure, coming to the 1.3 crores, 133 lakhs for filing of the one ANDA. And so the filing of ANDA, that is not only sufficient, you will have to invite the first time, because you are tomorrow you are going to start the factory. So when you are inviting the agency to inspect your factory, so you can see the bottom third one, domestic FDA audit. So that is coming for 1.4 crores. And if you have your own APA, inspections of 50 lakhs, and your own APA DMF, that is a 50 lakhs. So if you see, if you have your own APA or ANDA, one particular molecule, so roughly I'm calculating 1.4 into 3, around 5 crores of the investment on one particular molecule. You file it, but you don't know what is the quality of the dossier. You are thinking that it is 100% is true. But once you started getting the demands from the agency after analysis, then they starts. So by the end of the 10th month, and there would be the 3 more players in the market. So the value of your 5 crores would be drastically coming down. So that's what I was mentioning. It is one of the highly critical parameter in the VUCA environment. So because many companies are investing the money, at the same time, it is our scientific members' responsibility to create the robust and highly technical document for both the DMF as well as ANDA. So after this GODFA is applied, and there would be not more than the 10 months. If you are submitting onto the 1st October, which is the 10th month, by next 10 months, by next August 21 ending, and you are going to get the final note from agency, whether they are going to give the approval or not. If they are going to give the approval, and they give the approval. So for each month also, they have given the clear milestones and what to be done at the end. So like one is the filing review, and they will allocate to the team. So the beauty of the FDA is highly sincere and highly disciplined organization, and they give the each and every matrix also with some certain days. If they say that within the 60 days you are filing review starts, means that review starts out. And 70 days the review team assignment, they will give your A&D assignment to the different, like your bio to one particular team, and packaging to one particular, chemistry to one particular, and they will distribute and all this one. And by the end of the 10th month, and you are going to get the file. But in between, you will get a lot of the correspondence from the agency. That means once the review sorted, some couple of the doubts and couple of inquiries and on this one, then if you're able to give the proper response within the proper time, and I'm sure, and within 10 business days, and the product would be approved. So it is based on the NDA. And coming to the DMF side, so which is the CTD triangle. CTC is nothing but the chemical technical document. So initially CTD is the paper document now, but nowadays very few countries are accepting the paper document, like Mexico and Brazil and other developing countries. But US and other Europe, and they go for only eCTD. That is electronic way. You need not send the physical document, and you can upload on their website. So it is having the 3 parameters. One is the module 1, module 2, module 3. Module 1 is basically on the administrative side, and module 3, which covers the basic on the clinical data and the non-clinical data, and 2 covers on the what you call chemistry portions, that everything on the API side. So these 3 modules are very important. So why it has been made the triangle is, so the triangle is the highly stable structure in the if you take any structure, the triangle is highly stable. So in all the 5 modules, so module 3, module 4, module 5, which are going to be taught on the quality and clinical and non-clinical, which are to be very vital for the review of the dossier. So which is going to give the more stability for you. So unless you have these 3 parameters are very robust, and it is really used in filing the dossier to the agency. So that's what the total information is coined in the triangle shape. So once you file the dossier, so what happens? So the FDA agency, and they will give some assignment of this one, and they will generate your fee, user fee cover sheet. So that information will come to you, and finally it is connected with the money, and submitting the dossier is not only important unless you pay them, and that will not trigger, and you will have to complete the payment and online payment. So once the payment is over, and they will give the acknowledgement. So, and this dossier will go to the documentation room from the documentation server, and they are going to allocate to all the reviewers. So finally conclusion, they said the fees status is met, and they start the review process. So once the review is over, and depending upon the section, and DMF folder is going to get the feedback from the agency. Yeah. So it is the as on today existing story, and how India works, and how India works, and how this DMF flow, and again the part of the PG, even this one. But if you see the story, and why this drastic changes has come from a US FDA point of view. So in the 1960s, there was a very bad, unfortunate incidents on the thalidomide, with the thalidomide. So I think the majority of people would be knowing on the thalidomide tragedy. If not, also just to Google it, and you get the couple of articles on the thalidomide. So which happened in the 1960s, and it was very wonderful drug actually. And by unfortunately, this drug wrong went. So what happens? This drug is supposed to be treated the morning sickness during the pregnancy, but the clinical trials were not good, and there was no any appropriate scientific data. So what happens? And all the pregnancy ladies and who consumed the tablet, and they give birth to deformed children. So the statistics say that the damage is very huge damage. There were the families are disrupted. Almost 10 to 15,000 thalidomide babies born in that era. So in the entire country, there are almost 40 to 45 countries, they got affected with this one thalidomide. So this lady really, and we should hats off to this lady, and Dr. Francis can see, and she was heading for the review process there. So at the time when the dossier has come to her, and she could able to notice the thalidomide instance, which happened in the Europe and all other countries. And there were a lot of pressures from the pharmaceutical companies to get the approval on the thalidomide, but she could able to take the brave step in rejecting the dossier. So that's what, and there were no unfortunate instances in the US. and she became the hero of the nation. So then the government has started thinking, today thalidomide happened, tomorrow something happened, then how to make this one. Then in the slow improvement process in the 1984, so both gentleman, Hatch and Waxman, and they came into the picture. They were also part of the FDA, and they made some certain rules and guidelines, and which are, as in today, which are very, very, what do you call, a resource for the FDA, which is being called Hatch-Waxman Act. And when you're Googling, I think along with the thalidomide as well as Orange Book, I also suggest you to Google Hatch-Waxman Act, because my presentation is not covering the full details of Hatch-Waxman Act. I'm going to give the what are the important points only. So I request you to review in the thorough. So when we are talking about 180 days privilege or NCE exclusivity and all this one, these were defined by the Hatch-Waxman Act, and finally it has become the enforcement. And even for the FDA also, it was not so easy. It is not simply that Hatch-Waxman, they give the proposals and the government accepted. So there was a lot of the pushback from the innovator companies, because once this act comes, that they thought that all generic players would be coming to the play in very fastest mode and their business is going to affect. But you know, they ultimately who are going to benefit? The patients and the public of nation. So that's what government allowed this one act to the further implementation. Yeah, few more points on the Hatch-Waxman. So the key important points on this one is, and they enforced it for the listing of the OB patents in the Orange Book, which was not there earlier. And they are also started asking the generic players to give the certification of their own patents, and they encourage for the patent challenge. It is the minimum actually. Hatch-Waxman Act, they started encouraging all generic players to challenge their patents, which would be coming under the para 4. So again, so once you get the once you win in the challenging, and you are going to bless with 180 days exclusivity, then 30 months stay, and all this one, these parameters has come into this one. And one more, the last point, the safe harbor, which is the which is some time ago before the implementation of this act, and innovators are not allowing the generic players to take the innovator product even for the development of the generic molecules. So it was the big human cry. So innovators said that unless the patent gets expired, generic players are not authorized to take their product as a reference for the development of the generic molecule. So, but this safe harbor, Bolar Convention, they have given the final resolution saying that they are allowing all the generic players taking the innovator product as a reference even before the expiry of the patent. So that's what, and government started encouraging all the generic players to expedite the development process. And in this case, there are some good news for the brand innovator. There are some more good news for the generic players, and good news for the brand innovators. So orphan drug, for example, if the drug is orphan, and they gave the simply 7 years exclusivity for the innovators. That means within 7 years, no generic player authorized to file the dossier. If that is NC molecule, so once the product is approved, for the next 5 years, it is not the review. For the next 5 years, no generic player is authorized to file the dossier. So that's what, and I think a couple of you might have heard some of the companies' strategies in CE-1. Maybe this point also you can make it. In CE-1 means, for example, NC is expiring today. That means 5 years is expiring. So -1 means yesterday. So the people are keeping their dossier ready to file it on the NCA-1. So agency accept the dossier on the NCA-1. So that's what it's called, the NCA-1, the dossier. In some of the cases, an agency voluntarily they will ask the innovator, they encourage the innovators to test their product on the pediatric population. So if that is a successful, and they do this 6 months more. So these are the privileges given to the innovator. But you know, the innovator, they spend a lot of amount. When we are talking about ANDA filing, and we are thinking about only 1.5 crores without having clinical data. Clinical means phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, there would be some lakhs of the population After scrutinizing this one, we don't know what is the probability of the success of the molecule. Say they would be sending some millions of the rupees. So that's what innovators, they keep their RL price very high. So generic one, and with this Hatch-Waxman Act, they get the privilege to get the approvals very fast, and they can challenge the patent, they can challenge the innovator patents, and if that is true, and they will get the 180 days the privileges. So when I'm talking about NCE exclusivity, what happens? You can see this diagram. I hope you people can able to understand it. So one is the during this period, for example, on the October 1st, 2020, this molecule, Indian molecule, has been approved by the FDA. So the next 5 years, because of the NCE molecule, and FDA will not encourage to accept the NDA dossiers. So during this period, generics will not be able to enter the market, not only market, even file the dossier, even when there is no patent in the production. So it is a privilege which is given to the innovator if that is purely NCE molecule. So there are the different classes given. So one is the if you give the patent challenge and orphan drug, if that is a new route of administration, new patent, new product, new dosage form. So for every category, and Hatch-Waxman Act, they have given some certain durations for the innovators. So there are some cases where innovator product will ask for the patent expirations, patent extension. For example, if you see that the last one, the 20 years from the filing. So upon the filing of the dossier, and if you get the granting of the 20 years, so what happens? Innovator can make one more patent and they will file it on the 20th year or the last date of the 20th, or otherwise, and they can file the same dossier under the pediatric population survey, they will get the extension. It is completely, sorry to say that it is completely gimmicks in the market by the innovators. So there are a couple of examples. So this company, this Fluoxetine, which is the brand name is the Prozac. Okay, so 5 years extra marketing exclusively this company has got it, and so in the 5 years, the normal patent expiry was 1995, and the special approval 8th January 2000 they got it. So there would be almost 70 to 80% of the sales enhancement in this one SPC period. So I was mentioning about what is the privilege of the 180 days to the companies. So only first to filer only will get the opportunity, and the filer has to challenge the innovator in the court of the law, saying that their patent is the wrong. Then only, and you will get the 180. So these are the couple of Indian pharmaceutical companies and who got very good benefit. Actually, the slide is not very good, and I could be able to make the copy from the Google just only to show you and what are the different examples. My apologies. So honors is done with the Dr. Reddy's and Simvastatin with the Ranbaxy, of course, no Ranbax and some both are the same. And the Glenmark, they have this one. So in this one, so that means in the 2006, 7, 8, 5, and these companies, they got the 180 days. That means in the first 6 months, and these companies, they minted the money like anything. And the polar exemption, I was mentioning about this exemption has given the privilege to the generic players to use the R&D for their product development activity. Okay, so it is the best example of my the present company where I'm working out, NATCO, and there is one patent on the sorafenib phosphate which is being produced by the Bayer company, and they have not. So at the time, NATCO was planning to develop the product, and they were not allowing us to use the RLD, and this was gone into the central court in the Delhi. Finally, I think it is the first case in India that when the High Court of the Delhi has given the favor by taking the Watchman's Act's contents of the Bolar provisions to the Indian company. So with this one approval, and we could able to get the API for our development activity. And so almost, and I'm coming to the final, the key learnings, the key thought, and what we had, and we could able to discuss what is NDA and ANDA and the benefit of Orange Book, and IPR strategies, para 1, 2, 3, 4, and pay structures, cost, review, flow, goal data, that also, and we made it. and thalidomide tragedy and how the creation of hatchbacksman also this was we discussed in detail. So these points why I could able to summarize and also and maybe whenever you get the time, spend some time, connect with your thoughts, connect with your seniors and your other colleagues, and understand deep more. It is not only for film stock. Each and every parameter would be having a lot of information. Get the information from the Google as well. So that's what and again I'm presenting the same slide. So unless you work as per the rules and regulations of the FDA, and if you spend a lot of the amount, you, your team, your scientists, okay, so you are spending a lot of energy on this one. The finally, if you are not meeting the FDA criteria, all your resources are going to the drain. So the story is good. Then what next? Okay. So it is the one slide which is not exactly connected to the present topic, but just I want to make the few seconds. So there are two oceans. So one is the red ocean and the other one is the blue ocean. Generally, we describe this one in the business schools. So red ocean is completely is the fish market. Okay, there would be a lot of fishes available and different kinds of the fishes available, and there would not be much more scope for the next vendor. So why I'm presenting this one is, and all the students who are in the seminar, my sincere request to all of you is, literally you will have to understand yourself. What are the different job opportunities are there for you in India and outside, and who are your competitors, and how you want to become the monopoly. So try to inculcate different skill sets. There are so many online free courses are available, either with the clinical trials, regulatory and IP point of view, this one. So don't depend on your curriculum which is given by the government. So you'll have to understand what are the different attributes are required for the industry. So then slowly, and you can improve your better opportunities in getting into the right company in the right place. So that's this is the purpose of giving. Now all of us are in the red ocean only. There is no doubt. So then we'll have to migrate into the blue ocean. Then you'll have to think yourself and what is required for the blue ocean. So there would be you can. I'm talking with respect to the business, and there is no contest. There are the newcomers. There is no competition, but you'll have to literally look into backward and what way it is connected with you. And if you want to get the job or the good profile or this one where there is no competition, where there is no what you call there is no, I can say that there is no demand is there, but there is no the required skill set. So in these areas, and you will have to look it. So again, I'm putting that one VUCA slide. So now I'm not talking about the company point of view. I'm talking about you and I and we on the personal point of view. And sometime in the life, every one of us would be in the red VUCA. We have ambiguity, we have volatility, complexity, uncertainty. We don't know in our study, in our career, in our job, in our family, that everything. But it is our individual responsibility to develop the cognitive readiness to move into the blue ocean. And then VUCA abbreviation would become VUCA only, but the definition will changes. Will go for agility, vision, understanding, and the compassion. Okay. And with this one, and I would like to thank the management of Sri Venkateshwara College of the Pharmacy and all beloved students for hearing me and giving me opportunities. Here I mentioned my mail agent, the phone. So if you have any particular doubts, and I suggest you to start interacting with the industrial people also to get them more. And I am very happy to support you. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Srinivas. Thank you for appreciating our efforts in conducting this webinar and also appreciating webinar of September 15 delivered by Dr. Krishnan. It was an excellent seminar. I know that you hesitated because you had a doubt that some of these were part of MPharm curriculum, but industrial perspective is always in different. Academic perspective, students study only in one way. So it was a very excellent delivery. You, in your presentation, you have highlighted the significance of regulatory requirements in your first cartoon. I mean, that was really nice. We finished the formulation aspect and then think of regulations and other aspects of filing of the drug. And another important point in your slide is how India is an important destination for pharmaceutical industry in the present scenario, and all the more now Telangana. VUCA approach, I mean, I would like to tell you that Venkateshwara College of Pharmacy has registered for task Telangana Academy of Skill and Knowledge, and our students are well trained for understanding this VUCA approach. But however, you have highlighted its significance with respect to the industry, how you deal and what is the volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and other aspect with respect to industry. You have highlighted the significance of Orange Book and how it plays a vital role when an industry really begins thinking of drug development or drug formulation and the filing process. And you have discussed the organization of FDA and the role of CDR. And then you went on to describe about A&E filing and the significance of Para 4, which actually generates a lot of revenue for the pharmaceutical industry. And how the GUDUFA, the introduction of this fee, actually hastened the review process of patent grants. You stressed upon the importance of VUCA before the ANDA process, and you also included the legislative history, which actually tells how this all came into picture. So, thank you so much, Mr. Srinivas, for the excellent delivery. But if you permit me, we have few questions. Do you have time to answer them? Because you were talking that you have some meeting or so.
Yeah, yes, madam. Please continue.
Okay. I will just take 2 or 3 questions. One question by Dr. Aparna. She was just addressing to you recently on import of.
Madam, there's a lot of breakage in the voice.
And this is likely to affect. We have seen. I will repeat the question.
Please.
We heard in the news that India is largely dependent on import of APIs. We import more molecules of API rather than manufacturing. And because there was a problem in the supply chain recently, we have seen during COVID times, it has affected the pharma industry a lot. Can you throw some light on this?
Yeah, madam, question is very much appropriate and I sincerely accept it. So actually, Indian pharmaceutical companies they started giving the focus on the formulation side rather than giving the more focus on the API side. So there are the couple of the reasons. So one is the pollution front and other thing. So the second one is the profits also. So if you see in the formation, you get the almost 100% is the profit where API said that. So it is one of the key points by companies. They didn't focus much more on the DMF on the API. In majority of the cases, and we are as in today we are importing from the China, but blessing in disguise because of the COVID, it is eye open into all Indian pharmaceutical sector as well as to government also. Now they started thinking that developing the own API in India. So I think by next couple of years, and you can definitely see that there would be a lot of the API producer in India as well. But as in today, we depend more other parties, and we don't have much more API inside.
Second question. Are there any certification courses for students as add-on to their postgraduate program which will help them to place them in regulatory departments of pharmaceutical industries? Can you suggest any add-on courses?
Yeah, there are some certain websites are there, madam. As of today, I don't have it, but I can browse it and come back to you. So they charge it actually. They charge it, but again, it is very good resource, and that is going to add their curriculum also. There are some certain schools and international schools, as not only India point of view, international schools, and they are offering in both different and regulatory. I can browse it and definitely I will come back. It is a very good thought for the students. They can make it.
Okay. One more question from Dr. Hema Nair. Many RLDs may not be the most optimal for delivery of a particular molecule. Why then are Indian companies not going for 505(b)(2)s when there is also exclusivity of 3 years?
No, madam, but again, it depends upon the muzzle. So, you know, that one monitor things. And in fact, we don't have much more Indian MNCs which can have the very strong muzzle in the finance point of view side. So that's what, that's what in the majority of the cases they depend upon only on only. And the 505 due they go now this momentum has come and the couple of the companies they started, but the data which is required to generate the submission of the filing is the much more different on the BE studies. So that depends upon the company's culture, that depends upon the company's financial status. So there are these are the reasons which would be contributed by companies for not taking the B2. But I'm saying that in the future, the many companies will go for the B2, not at least on the B1. They can go for on the B2.
Thank you so much, Mr. Srinivas, for answering few of these questions. Thank you very much. Now I pass on the session to our principal, sir, to deliver concluding remarks.
Sir, your microphone is on mute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On behalf of the Secretaries of the Education Society, Srimati Vani Devi Garu and our Dynamic Director, Srimati M. Sekar, and also on behalf of my staff and also the students, I thank you very much for sparing your valuable time. So that was an excellent presentation in industry's view. It is an insider's view at so many things that we get to read about, and I really thank you for that. And I hope in future also you will spare some time to join us again. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best. Thank you so much.
And Mr. Srinivas, on behalf of Sri Venkateshwara College of Pharmacy, we will mail you a letter of appreciation. Thank you for giving your time and for accepting to be a speaker in our first webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All the best. All the best. Thank you very much. Shall I now go?
We are ending the session.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you all for participating. Thank you all.